The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. He
missed the pit completely. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Hello and welcome to the American Sim Racing Camping World Truck Series. This is round 17 coming to you live from Las Vegas Motor Speedway in Las Vegas, Nevada on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Samuel Ryman and with me in the booth is Evan Pasoko. Behind the scenes doing all the button pushing is Kevin Brown and our camera sets are provided by Dougie Beard. Evan, this is the second round of a 7-race chase and we are here at Las Vegas, a 1.5 mile circuit, but it most certainly is not a cookie cutter track.
Now this racetrack and the way this setup runs on these trucks, it's going to be very loose. This is a really fun racetrack to drive. You mentioned going to be race 2 of our 7-race chase, so it's going to be exciting because we know that they got some guys that have, not had the results that they wanted last week moving forward. Talladega is going to be coming up for race number 3, so that one is going to be up in the air. So these guys that got off to a bad start last week, they really want to put in a solid performance because they could easily lose touch with this championship. Only 7 races for the championship. There's not a lot of room for mistakes.
No, there isn't. And talking about that chase for the championship, only 1 of 10 drivers could win this championship, but there's 44 points between them, so it could be any one of them as we are in the second race for the chase. So let's take a look right now. Gary Whitson has a 3-point lead over his cousin Bryce Whitson. League organizer Jim Foose is 16 points back in third. Alex Bates in fourth, and Jason Christen round out the top 5, Evan.
Dick Cohan sits right now 6th in the standings. He's 24 points back from Bryce Whitson, who's at the top of the pile. Dan Winter is 7th. He sits 32 back, 2 points behind him. 34 off the top spot is going to be Tim Johnston. David Gibson back, and these guys, the last 2, are over 40 points out of it, so nearly a race. David Gibson, 9th. He is 43 back, and Aaron Kleinhans rounds out the 10 drivers that are going for that championship. He sits 44 points back, Samuel.
Yes, however, none of these 10 names have been really the big 2 names during the last couple of weeks. Jeff Ward and Adam Benefiel are relatively newcomers to this series, and they have been top to top in practice, qualifying, and race sessions the last couple of weeks, and it doesn't seem like that's going to be any different today as of right now, Evan.
Yeah, right now, those are the only 2 guys that have broken the 31.5 barrier, both of them sitting with 31.4s, and again, there's still a couple minutes left in the qualifying session. 10-minute open qualifier underway, so these guys have about 2 minutes left, so it can still change up there at the top of the pile. But want to talk real quick on some specifics about this track, Sammy. Obviously, the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, located in Las Vegas, Nevada. A capacity crowd of 131,000 people can pack into this facility. It opened back in 1996. But the track itself, you mentioned, it's one of these 1.5 intermediates. It most certainly is not a cookie cutter because there's a lot of different ways you can run this racetrack. 1.5 miles in length of turns, variable degrees of banking, just slightly, 18 degrees on the bottom, 20 up against the wall. So it is going to be a really fun one. And you said the top 2 are playing spoiler right now. Jeff Ward, Adam Benefiel, they were the fastest in practice. Right now they're the fastest in qualifying. They're going to have a shot at the championship. So they're taking away victories from what these chase guys, I'm sure they would like to get even more of a better point cushion moving forward. So going to be interesting to see if we can see some of these chase guys step up front and maybe walk away with a win tonight.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing in qualifying right now. The top 2 trucks are separated by 0.003 of a second. 3rd through 5th separated by 1/1000th of a second, and 6th through 8th are separated by 2/1000ths of a second. This is really, really close. We are going to see some pack racing here today, I think, Kevin.
Yeah, that means that when these cars are so close, and again, even with the fixed set, we'll see some races where guys that are clearly more dominant than the others, but this racetrack, it really plays into the driver's hands. So you talk about how close these guys are. We have a 3-way tie for 6th or 8th now at a .621. They're not separated by anything to the 1,000th of a second. which means that when they get out there and they're racing, it's going to be very competitive. There's going to be a lot of passing. There's going to be a lot of strategy played as well, which means that this should be a barn burner here. It's going to be a good one. Just less than a minute left in qual.
A three-way tie from 6th to 8th, as Evan said, and the guy in 9th is 2,000ths back. That means if Keith Medeiros, who currently sits 9th, had been 3,000ths of a second quicker, just 3,000ths of a second, he would be sitting 3 positions high on the grid, and that's what he does. He goes to 31.588, as I say that. And qualifying is just wrapping up. These trucks will be coming across the line. Laps will still count. Anyone who is still on a hot lap. However, these tyres really have a good life cycle of only about 1 or 2 laps in qualifying mode. But right now, once again, as of right now, Evan, it looks like Jeff Ward and Adam Benefield will round out our top 2, our front row at the start of this race.
And that's a really good pickup because, again, they were the fastest in practice, but over a half a tenth quicker of time that they picked up. Benefield ran a 5.8, Jeff Ward a 5.5, so both of those guys picking up about a half to 3/4 of a tenth, and it really isn't a lot of time, but on the racetrack, that's a huge amount to pick up, and they blew the rest of this field out of the water here as qualifying comes to a close.
Yes, the qualifying is over. The trucks are getting gridded up on the circuit. I believe we will have just 1 pace lap, so let's begin going through the grid right now. Jeff Ward will start on pole position after winning last time out at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Adam Benefield, who won 2 races ago at Chicagoland, starts second. Ricky Hardin, who's a regular, but not always at the front. He is currently qualified 3rd. Lined up alongside him is Bryce Whitson with an identical time at a 31.566. Jared Haggerty starts 5th and Keith Medeiros starts 6th. Gary Whitson, Nick Cohan and Sean Music, all tied on the 31.621, are lined up 7th through 9th, and Steve Ritter rounds out the top 10, Evan.
Aaron Kleinhans needs to get back going in this championship hunt. His 85 Chevrolet is going to start in P11 on the inside of row number 6. Alongside him, going to be Tim Johnston, driver of the number 38 machine. Cody Gibson, 1 more row back. The 07 machine will start in the unlucky or lucky number 13th starting position. Alongside him on the right-hand side, 14th spot belongs to the 61 of Jeffrey Gilliam. Jason Swan, the 14 car, how about that? Going to be starting in P15 alongside Jason Kristen in the 02 car, starting in 16th. Alex Bates going to be rolling off P17. Alongside him, the 18th place car, going to be Jesse Fowler. Benny Ellison, 19th. And Michael Clary going to round out the top 20 into number 170.
Yes, and then 21st is Jordan Harnish, another regular, lined up alongside Steve Buhalo, who, if I'm not mistaken, used to be a pro driver on the iRacer Noble service. Tim Knott is in 23rd. We'll get more on him in a second. Dan Winter, 24th, one of the Trace drivers, as well as Jim Foose in 25th. Bo Maguire and David Gibson are meant to start 26th and 27th, and they are gridded up. David Gibson, I should imagine, would be, because he is a chaser. And the reason I want to go back to Tim Knott as the pace car rolls off right now is that Tim Knott and Benny Ellison have been given end of longest line penalties to start the race. Honestly, I'm surprised there aren't a little more after the amount of incidents we saw, or at least the amount of beating and banning we saw last week at New Hampshire. But one thing that really interested me about Tim Knott in practice, Evan, was he ended up running about 30 consecutive laps on the circuit, so I have a feeling he knew he was going to get an end of longest line penalty, so he wasn't worried about qualifying at all. He was just working on his race runs.
Yeah, and it's a solid idea because you're looking at these guys that are running the hot laps, especially the guys up front in practice, and they may have been able to, do a couple of decently length green flag runs and also do some hot laps as we pace down the back straightaway, getting set to go green here. But, I mean, it's a smart decision. If you know you're going to be starting at the back of the pack, those hot laps really are not important for you. Hopefully, and he's banking on this one going green, which with this amount of cars these far separated or this minimum time between qualifying may not happen because it's going to be pretty wild. He'll definitely have an upper hand, I think, on the long run, because it's not typically something that drivers want to practice. It's more fun going out hot laps and putting yourself up on top of the scoring pylon in practice. So, going to keep an eye on him as well as we get set to go green.
A lot of drivers having connection issues on the warm-up lap, especially 5th place starter Jared Haggerty, but he is still there in the race, but definitely something to keep an eye on. Pace cars peeled off. Trev Ward has control of the field. He's been great at restarts last week at New Hampshire. Let's see if he can keep that going here at Las Vegas today. 73 laps at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's underway now.
And a lot of checking up mid-pack. Everybody is able to hang on, but still some connection issues for, looks like the 57, Jared Haggerty. He runs down on the inside lane. Meanwhile, Jeff Ward leads them off of quarter number 2. First challenge is going to be for position number 2. The 15 of Ricky Hardin down to the inside on Adam Benefield. Looks like Benefield's going to get clear on that high side. He'll drop down in line, and now they will single file out as well for third on back, but the 57 having some major connection issues coming off of quarter number 4.
Battle for the lead already. Jeff Ward's got loose in turn 4. Now, obviously, as the speed picks up, we're going to start to see some racing. Looks like the inside line's the place to be, and it looks like Jared Haggerty got a piece of a wall there. But here's the battle for the lead. Adam Benefield on the low line of Jeff Ward. Although Jeff Ward gets a run on the exit of the turn there, looks like he'll fall safely into the lead.
Jared Haggerty said he was going to drop back, but he caught the fence there at a 1 and gave himself some unnecessary damage on the right-hand side, so is dropping back to yield to those other cars as he has been blinking the connection side by side for third to double zero. L. Bryce Whitson Jr. is going to bottom 15 of Ricky Hardin, and Keith Madero is going to come with him in the Aaron Green Chevrolet. So that 15 machine to Ricky Hardin going to drop back to P5. Meanwhile, Adam Benefield wants to take another crack at the number 1 spot. He's on the left rear of Jeff Ward down the back straightaway.
Well, it said it looked like the low line was the side, but honestly, I'm not sure. Even though these are big setups, you see trucks all over the track, and none of the lines seem to be that bad. Jeff Ward end up close to the wall again there. I have a feeling he's coming under a bit of pressure from Adam Benefield, at least in these early stages. Bryce Whitson in third, Keith Medeiros in fourth, and Ricky Harding rounds out the top 5.
And Adam came over the radio and just let Jeff Ward know that, hey man, I'm not looking to pass you right now, because you saw how hard that 89 drove it off the corner there to quarter number 4, obviously trying to hold off Adam Benefield. So Benefield just let him over the radio, hey guys, let's just ride here. He's running around right now behind Jeff Ward, and you see that they're both taking it a lot easier that time by, and if they refrain from going too wide, they stay kind of tucked up on each other's bumper like that, they'll be able to pull some ground over L. Bryce Whitson Jr., who sits third, and company. It's actually Whitson's got some company. Keith Medeiros take a look to the inside. They're separated by about a quarter of a car length. You see that 00 truck get sideways, and they have a move for the number 3 spot. No, it's 65, yes, now he will dive low down into 3. Gonna be door-to-door for the number 3 spot.
Bryce Whitson, the only chase driver in the top 5 right now, getting very close to Keith Medeiros right there. Remember, Keith from New Hampshire, he was the one who actually spun under the caution flag, but a really good racing driver that killed it. Now the next chase driver in fourth position is Nick Cohan in 6th. Yes, that is him in the new Orange Home Depot paint scheme, number 21 truck. Very nice looking truck in my opinion, and right now he's in a very nice position. And who's that? The 24 truck going very slow out of 2. Sean Music losing several positions.
Tim Knott also off speed in the 141, had a real bad entry in 1 and 2 and overdrove it, and really had to back it way down. We're going to have a move for P3 again, the 65 of Keith Medeiros, who that spot not too long ago. L. Bryce Whitson wants to get it back. He'll go to the inside, going to be side by side, 2 rows deep as the 21 and the 15 battle it out behind them as well. Off of quarter number 4, all cars even. The 21 of Nick Cohan is going to have to slide in line behind the 15 of Ricky Hardin. Hardin wants to go to the outside. That's where the machine up there on the top. That's the 65 of Medeiros. By doing that, he opens up the door for Cohan. And it looks like Keith Medeiros is going to be able to hold off L. Bryce Whitson Jr. He does, goes all the way down and utilizes that apron. So that's going to make it a side-by-side battle behind them. For 5th, Nick Cohan is going to slide in line behind Ricky Hardin for the time being.
They're hitting 180 miles an hour on the straights, but they're only falling to 160 miles an hour in the turns. That's why I have to hold my breath each time they enter a corner side by side, because there's really no ideal racing line, and you just have to trust the guy on the inside or outside that you're not going to get involved in a collision. Right now, Keith Medeiros has actually broke away a little bit, but Bryce Whitson still has a slipstream, but he has a ton of trucks on hounding him on the back. And we even see a battle around 10th place. They almost look like they were 3 wide back there. Steve Ritter leads that back in 7th. Gary Whitson just took 8th from Tim Johnston, although Tim is going to cross him back over right now. Jeffrey Gilliam looks on behind them in 10th place. Gary on the high line and is going to lose 8th position to Tim Johnston here, or maybe not. These are 2 race drivers.
Yeah, Gary's up on the outside lane, the Sunoco Chevrolet, but the 13 at Gary Whitson, so he's going to get the run off the corner. That gives Tim Johnston the advantage into the corner. You see the 38's on that lower lane. He pulls it over, but the 13's able to pick the gas back up, and Gary Whitson's going to get this run off of corner number 2, and he's actually going to be able to hold off, so Tim Johnston's going to slide back. Now the 61 of Jeffrey Gilliam behind him as well. He's not giving up on the inside lane, Tim Johnston, but there you go, the 13 machine's going to get clear, so if anything, he might actually look like he's dropping back on that inside lane.
Here they go. They look like they're going to go 3 wide again there for a minute. That's Aaron Cleanhans in the green and yellow number 85 truck, running in 11th right now. Sure, he wants to improve his position. He's going to get an opportunity here as Jeffrey Gilliam slides up and is falling back. And as these laps go on, these cars are going to begin to wear out. Sliding up the track is going to become easier, and you may see more changes for positions like we've seen. Oh no, a moment there, I thought Adam Weatherfield had the lead, but no, he doesn't. He is. Oh!
Jeffrey Gilliam's in the fence out of 4.
Yeah, and Aaron Cleanhans and Cody Gibson get on by, but they had to take to the apron to avoid that. Honestly, I didn't get a great look at that one.
It looked like the 61 just overdrove it, caught the fence at 4, and these guys really got way out of the way because it could have been very easy for Gilliam to try to turn that wheel to the left, get it off the fence, and spin it out. That's the way these cars tend to act when they get up against the wall, but he's able to hang on to it. He obviously has some significant damage on the right side of his truck, not what he needs to see, and I like the 02 of Jason Priston who sits behind him, who's closing in rather quickly. He's going to be able to get that spot, and if this green flag run continues, that's going to be bad news for Jeffrey Gilliam, because again, the right side of that machine pretty torn up. I mean, it does have some significant damage. Update on the top 2 drivers. We mentioned how Jeff Ward Adam Benefield. Benefield told Jeff that he just wants to ride around and they stay tucked up under each other single file. They've expanded that 4/10 of a second lead to now 1.2 seconds in front of Keith Medeiros, who sits there.
Yeah, we're going to have to ask these 2 drivers, Jeff Ward and Adam Benefield, one of them to change their paint schemes so that we can tell the difference from the long shot a bit easier in the future, because I have a feeling we're going to see more and more of them running side by side as time goes on. I'll tell you what, Keith Medeiros is struggling out there too, and that's to say that actually brushed it this time on lap 14. These cars, I think, are beginning to slide a little bit. Bryce Whitson has caught him back in, and although these trucks have the same pace and I believe have the ability to run side by side, I think it's just cooler heads prevailing right now, Evan, and that's what's leading to the single bar racing. I have a feeling if we see it later on in the race, we're going to see a lot more side-by-side action, like we do actually in the battle back now for 9th place between Tim Johnston and Aaron Cleanhans, 2 chase drivers.
Yeah, again, the multiple group capability of this racetrack, with that inside having an advantage on entry, but if you nail it on the outside lane, you're going to get a good run off the corner. It can make things very exciting coming down towards the checkered flag when things get real interesting. You were talking about the battle for position number 9, Tim Johnston on the outside lane. He had the advantage at the stripe last time by. It's Aaron Cleanhans on the inside lane. They're going to be side by side this time through 1 and 2. You see the 85, the back end stepping out just a little bit, trying to find grip as Aaron Cleanhans is not going to be able to do it on the inside, and he may be forced to drop in line because Tim Johnston has gotten clear by a truck length, that he will slide back up in front of the 07. Does Cody Gibson make a move with the momentum? 6 nose to the outside, and he's going to get there. Cleanhans going to go down to the apron, try to get up in front of the 07. Looks like he may be safe. Let's see if Cody Gibson can, to his outside, which would again trap that 85 on the inside where he has not been strong. It looks like that's going to happen at it too.
Yeah, and Aaron Cleanhans, he has to remember big picture here. He's actually one of the higher running chase drivers right now, so probably shouldn't be worrying too much about positions and more just about keeping his truck in one piece. Meanwhile, a really intense battle going on for 15th. Sean Music and Jordan Harnage get very close. They need to be careful because they've got a chase driver right behind them. Alex Pace, who sits fourth in the points, he doesn't have a yellow trim on his number 25 truck, but he is a chase driver, and he almost saw an ugly collision in front of him.
We get a lot more side-by-side. It's still around this gap. Tim Johnston cannot catch a break. He's trying to pick up a position. He went to make a move to the 13 at Gary Whitson, and by doing so, it's actually opened up the door for the 07. So we're going to go at it 3 wide off the corner. He does. Tim Johnston down to the grass and sideways. He'll have to come back up. And that Cody Gibson going to get well out in front of those 3 trucks that battle behind him. The 07 has been making up a lot of ground after starting in 13th. He's in 8th right now, but has picked up about half those spots in the last 2-3 laps.
And that's going to come on our 6th-place driver, Nick Cohan. He has a lot of damage to his front right fender. He's obviously been in the wall at some point, actually down the entire right-hand side of the truck. I have a feeling that's going to cost him a bit of time. Meanwhile, the battle continues on for about back 8 there, but Nick Cohan losing 6th position right now to Steve Ritter, maybe. I have a feeling that damage, especially at an aerodynamic quick tracks such as Las Vegas, that's definitely going to be hurting Cohan in the long run.
And we've seen a handful of guys, much like we did at New Hampshire, catch the wall. The incident happened back on lap 17. He got into the back end of the number 15 machine, Ricky Harden, to kind of give him a tap when he was there, and he just drifted up too high and scraped the outside wall and pretty much rode it halfway down that Nella straightaway on the backstretch. And that's where he's gotten the damage. Not sure if that is what is affecting his car to lose such speed, because you see the 9 of Steve Ritter going to the inside, trying to get that number 6 spot from him. The 07 Cody Gibson continues to just be straight flying on the outside, and he gets up to the back bumper and tries to push the 21 because he's kind of trapped behind him at this point. Trouble down the back straightaway. Somebody's in the inside wall. The 57 of Jared Haggerty. We will stay green, and he is not happy with the 45 machine. It was a 2-car wreck. Alex Bates and the 57 machine got together, and Jared Haggerty is not happy over the radio. No caution.
And Alex Bates is one of our chase drivers, and as we watch a replay, it looks like Alex Bates just got loose on the exit of a turn, came down and collected Jared Haggerty, and they will be the first 2 drivers to lose a lap here. Until that point, we had an incident-free race and still had all 27 trucks on the lead lap. Meanwhile, there's finally been a change for the lead. Adam Benefield is now in front of Jeff Ward.
Yeah, it's a strange incident there with the 45 on the outside lane. A little bit of a bobble, but it looked like it may have been caused by when those 2 trucks got real close there coming off of 4. So maybe a little bit of netco, but nonetheless does not help Alex Bates. He's on pit road for damage repair. Jared Haggerty on pit road for damage repair as well. Meanwhile, the field's still going full throttle as we stay green.
Yeah, and we're experiencing a bit of technical difficulties right now. Adam Benefield is currently your leader, about a third race distance. We have completed 23 of 73 laps here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. All right, we are back here to Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Adam Benefield has recently taken the lead from Jeff Ward, and meanwhile, and Jeff Ward is into pits.
Yeah, the cycle of green flag pit stops are going to start to roll through. Jeff Ward not the only one on pit road. Alex Bates is still down there for repairs, but see the other guys, Jeff Ward, Steve Buhala on pit road as well, trying to get some service done. So it's going to be the start of green flag pit stops, and they come just shy of the lap 30 mark, around lap number 25. So race leader Adam Benefield going to come in. You got to think this is going to make it a 2-stop race.
What's happened to Gary Whitson during the break? It looks like I think he may have had some damage with contact with Aaron Cleanhands. He has a lot of damage on the front end of that number 13 truck. Meanwhile, green flag pit stop still going on. Our current leaders came into the pits, Adam Benefield.
Yeah, the 13 is torn up, and trying to get a replay. He just hit the wall all by himself. He just overdrove it at a 2 on lap 24 and just nailed the wall and came down and actually hit Aaron Kleinhahn. So the 13 can only blame himself for that contact. He sits 1 lap down already because he did come down immediately after that to get his green flag stop. Race leader is now Ricky Hardin. Cody Gibson comes in from second.
We almost had a big crash entering pit road. Jason Swan had to drive into the grass to avoid a truck that was slowing down coming into the pits. He's still struggling to gain his momentum, and there's a pack of trucks passing him on the high line. And right now it looks like, Evan, that if this race goes green to the end, we may have 2 sets of pit stops here. But I'll tell you what, with these pit stops going on and these random incidents occurring, I don't know if we'll go green to the end.
And Tim Johnston, he was slowing down to come down pit road, but just drifted way too far up the track. He was nearly in the middle of it from the perspective of a truck being right behind him down on the bottom. He looked very far up. If you look at it from overhead, you're going to say, well, it's pretty much on the bottom. But when those cars behind him, those trucks behind him, rather, are right down on the apron there, it looked like he was pretty much in the middle of the line that they wanted to take off the corner. So not only is he lucky that he didn't get run over for that, but the 14 machine is lucky that he didn't end up in the garage from it. However, Jason Swan lost a lot of time from that. He's now down for his service, and right side tire is going to go up at number 14.
Leader Ricky Hardin is in. Aaron Kleinhahn was in second, is in. Benny Ellison was in third, is in. And that puts Nick Cohan up to the front as Cohan made a stop.
Bryce Whitson is the first car that is running in the running order right now that has completed stops. It shows Jason Swan in front of him right now, Sean Music, but scoring still to cycle through as everything is getting sorted out. Right now, Ricky Hardin is coming off the pit lane. Aaron Kleinhahn is on pit road as well, along with Benny Ellison. So this may be all cycled through the next time L. Bryce Whitson Jr. comes by the stripe.
Yeah, amazing. Bryce Whitson was able to make up all those positions. Jeff Ward and Adam Benefiel are currently 3 seconds behind him. Almost wonder if he just took 2 tires.
I mean, we've seen, if you look at the drop-off on these guys as far as race times, at the start of the race, they were running down in the 31s and whatnot. By the end of the run, they were running about 32.3. So it's about a drop-off of only 2-3 tenths, not a lot, but I wouldn't expect that kind of strategy call at this point, maybe later on in the race to really make up some track position. So there's not pretty wicked fall-off. I think the only thing that goes major with these trucks is they just get real loose.
Bryce Whitson and Ricky Harding currently run first and second with just 2 tire stops. That's going to set them up to have to make a 4 tire stop, I should imagine, at the end. But you can already see the difference in speed. Jeff Ward running up on Ricky Harding, only half a second behind him. He should easily dispose of him for second position, and have really get running down Bryce Whitson soon after.
And that's one of the things you have to keep in consideration is when you go with a 2-tire stop, you have to think, are you going to make up enough ground that you have a buffer of either time or a couple of cars that those guys behind you on 4 tires have to get through in order to get to you, to be able to get enough laps on their tires that you'll kind of end up on a level playing ground. But not the way it sits right now. Bryce Whitson does sit up front right now. He is 2.2 seconds over Ricky Hardin, who has Jeff Ward all over his back bumper. The Jack Link Chevrolet of Jeff Ward is closing in quick on Ricky Hardin, and expect them to get a good run off of 2 on those fresh tires. They'll have a lot more straightaway speed, and they'll be about within a truck length down into 3.
Now still battles going on throughout the field, but mainly 2 truck battles. 23 trucks still on the lead lap after all the pit stops have cycled through. Obviously the biggest loser has been Alex Bates, and meanwhile, here we are, continuing to watch this battle for second. Jeff Ward goes up on the high line. He should be able to get by Ricky Hardin here. He's definitely going to get a better run off of the turn, and I have a feeling Adam Benefiel is just going to follow him through.
Yeah, the black color's back on the number 82 of Adam Benefiel. He goes to the outside lane in the Full Speed Dynamics truck, and he's able to get to the outside, not quite clear of the 15 to Ricky Harden, but 89 Jeff Ward has gone clear now. Benefield's going to get clear at the stripes, and Harden back to P4. Now that these trucks on the 4 tires, the 89, the 82 are in clean air, we're going to have to see how fast and time we're going to be making up on the double zero for this race leader. And then we'll have to think, will they catch him by the time the next stop cycles through? And then what calls will be made from that point? Because you mentioned if you're taking 2 this time, you pretty much have to take 4 the next time by. If you took a 4-tire stop, it gives you the opportunity to take 2 if you want to. So the double zero really is hoping that he's going to be able to hold on to this gap. 2.2 seconds and now 2.1. So those cars on 4 tires been a 10th quick.
Yeah, not as much as I thought it would be, but maybe Bryce Whitson's tyres. Meanwhile, we're being told there's a 3-wide battle between Aaron Kleinhan's, Jeffrey Gilliam, and who's the other truck there? Gary Whitson. Aaron Kleinhan's, my apologies, Nick Cohan. There's a lot of trucks running around here in 10th place, still battling hard. And these are all 3 chase drivers right now. Gary Whitson on the outside of Nick Cohan, with Aaron Kleinhan's behind them. And I'll tell you what, like I say, they're all chase drivers and they all have a bit of damage on their trucks.
Yeah, again, much like we saw at New Hampshire, these guys are touching the wall quite significantly, and it's going to hurt them a lot more at a track like Las Vegas than it would, at the shorter 1-mile flat oval of New Hampshire. So we've seen, look at the 85 machine sliding up, struggling to keep it down. Aaron Kleinhan just came right up in front of the 13 Gary Whitson, and it looks like Gary was able to kind of lift for him and let him go on by, because otherwise, if that was late in the race and that 13 wasn't going to cut him any slack, that would have been a pretty gutsy move to make. But the 85 slides up. Aaron Kleinhan will be able to hang on, or rather take position number 13. Gary Whitson across the front of his time by, and looks like we are closing in. Originally past the halfway point, I think about a lap or 2 ago.
Yes, we are, and so far, although you see a few beat-up trucks, particularly the chase drivers with some scratches on their truck, we have had a quarter-to-3 race with really only 1 major incident. Meanwhile, now that Jeff Ward and Adam Benefield have cleared the lap traffic, they just pulled 3/10 out on Bryce Whitson that time around. So within about 5 to 10 laps, I have a feeling they will catch him. Still, right now, not a bad strategy by Bryce Whitson. He is by far the highest running chase driver. In fact, you have to go back to Tim Johnston in 8th place, to the 2nd chase driver in the race right now.
Last car on the lead lap right now, last truck on the lead lap, the 141 of Tim Knott. He sits P23. He was the truck that you were talking about, Samuel, that did not really go out there for some hot laps in the practice session, ran his race trim, the long run, about 30 plus laps or so in practice, and not really paying due dividends like we may have expected. He's 26 seconds back, or if you want to correlate that to the race leaders, he's about 6 seconds in front of race leader Bryce Whitson, who would be putting him a lap down if they continued on at this pace by the time we get around to our final stops, I would imagine, here on the 73 lap affair. The gap is down to 1.2 seconds, Samuel, so Jeff Ward, Adam Benefield, they've pretty much been bumper to bumper all race long, and as I was about to say, Benefield has really not been making passes. He's been riding behind him. He goes to the inside, and we're going to be going towards for the number 2 spot. Looks like Jeff Ward will stay high and let Adam Benefield go, so that will be a swap for P2. Meanwhile, they continue to close in on that top spot.
Yeah, that's actually going to cost them a little bit of time, but maybe they'll find that they're quicker with it. Actually, they gained a bit of time that lap, but maybe they'll find they're quicker with Adam Benefield up in front. Meanwhile, Ricky Harden is behind them on 2 tires, falling back. Keith Medeiros is about 4 seconds back of his battle in 5th place, and he has 4 fresh tires, I believe. And it does look like they are a bit quicker with Adam Benefield in front, because they really have caught up with Bryce Whitson. Although, mind you, maybe Benefield is getting a little bit of Bryce's draft as well. Maybe that's helping him a bit. 0.7 seconds.
I mean, they're just faster. Benefield last time by was a 31 of .984. It was a 32.3 for L. Bryce Whitson Jr. That's about half a second.
Yeah, I have a feeling those left side tires are getting a little bit older on Bryce Whitson's truck right now. So we should see a change to the lead here momentarily. But as we say, it should pay off for Bryce in the long run, because even at worst here, if he loses those 2 positions, he will be in 3rd. He started in 2nd, so he certainly has a very fast truck here. I'm assuming this is one of his better circuits, and right now sits just 3 points back of Gary Whitson in the points, so obviously if positions stayed as they are now, Bryce Whitson would be leading the points after this round, but with 30 laps left to go, anything can happen, and right now it looks like Adam Benderfield will have a lead within a lap or two.
Yeah, Gary Whitson is just not running strong. He has some left side damage, which is not common to see. Most of the damage that we see on these trucks is on the right-hand side, obviously from catching the fence to some extent, but 13 is working a little bit of left rear damage. Not sure if that's really a major factor, in what's going on. That is when he pretty much knocked the wall down at a 2.
Vanderbilt has just taken the lead from Bryce Whitson on the outside. Obviously, Bryce Whitson didn't put up too much of a fight. Now, what this does mean is Jeff Ward is going to have to try and get by Bryce pretty quick, because Adam Vanderbilt looked to be pulling a little bit of distance on Jeff when he was in front. And right now, Jeff is going to get held up by Bryce Whitson. It'll be interesting seeing if Jeff Ward loses the car. Will he be able to catch up with Adam or not? If Adam begins to pull away, then that may be telling about how this race is going to end. But if he runs him back down, we all know that we'll still have a race on the hands. And into the pits comes Bryce Whitson.
So he's going to come down lap 46 out of 73. So 00, maybe a little bit of short pitting. As again, he's coming down right now on this lap, and we're still shy of the 50 to go marker, so still a fair distance to go, before we're ready to get this thing closed out. But the last time he was down pit road, again, this all under, we had that incident there earlier in the race, but last time he was down pit road in lap 26, so that's only about 21 laps on that set of fuel.
Yeah, and I have a feeling the reason he's pitting, and there we see it, is for 4 tyres. Now, the thing I don't get about this is a race-winning move for Bryce Whitson. This is him saying, hey, I want to get on these new tyres now so I can challenge for the race win. It isn't a very championship thinking move, in my opinion, because he could have stayed out there, raced in 3rd place, not run the risk of falling a lap down if the caution flies out, and finished 3rd in front of all the chasers and end out with a chase lead. So Bryce Whitson, evidently for whatever reason, not happy with being the highest chase driver of the race. He wants to be the highest driver of the race and take the gamble here at Vegas, why not, and walk away with not just the chase lead, but the race win.
Yeah, his strategy is for that to be his final stop. Because the last time by, he took 26 to go until he's able to get to the checkered flag. He made it 27 on the first run, plus a caution. So it's going to be interesting to see how that battles out, or rather how that evens out. The thing about short pitting is they're going to be out there right now on fresh tires while everybody else is on the older ones. So right now, their lap times are going to be faster. They're going to be making up ground, So when everybody else cycles through, he may have a gap on them when they cut up that pit road. Only difference is then he's going to be on the flip side of that, because when they come back out, he'll be on old tires, they'll be on fresh rubber down at the end, and it'll make for an exciting one.
That is, of course, provided the race goes green to the end. Jeffrey Gilliam also taking the gamble. He is down in the pits, and obviously we're going to be keeping an eye on turn 4, watching the trucks come down pit road, not just to see what laps and who comes down pit road, but also to see if there's any near collisions like we almost saw into the first round of stops. And there's contact in the battle for 8. Jordan Harnish almost got turned by chase driver Jason Christen, but was able to hold on to it.
57 has announced that he's going to be coming down pit road. That it's going to be Jared Haggerty, as he rides right now P24. He is 1 lap down and is working some significant front end damage, and that's after starting top 5. So Jared Haggerty has really gone down after having a solid truck week in and week out. Had a good start to tonight's race, but that right side damage really hindering his progress. He'll go at least 2-3 laps down here as he comes down to the pit lane at a 4.
Watch this for 10th right now. 3 chase drivers and then almost 3 wide. Nick Cohan, that damage was sent him from the top 5 back to falling outside the top 10 here. Jim Bruce started at the back of the field, is rallied up to the top 10 in the number 2 green surge truck. And right behind him is Aaron Cleanhands in a bit of a beat-up number 85 truck, but still running solid there in 12th place.
We got a couple of drivers who, again, when you come into pit road, you got to start to get on the brakes on the bottom side of the racetrack. And the 65 of Keith Medeiros apparently did not give the drivers behind him a advance notice and nearly took out a couple of trucks, both Cody Gibson and Steve Ritter. So both those trucks are not happy with the lack of notice, as race leader Adam Benefield going to come down pit road for his final stop at a race.
Yes, and what will obviously be interesting to see here is where he comes out in relation to Bryce Whitson. I would imagine that unless he takes 2 tyres, he'll be behind him. Meanwhile, Tim Johnston comes in, Jordan Harnish comes in, and Nick Cohan comes in. So I'm watching turn 4 here to see who comes in, but let's get our focus back on Adam Benefield, who I think overshot his pit box.
He's got the right sides going up right now, and it was a clean entry for Adam Benefield, but a little bit conservative coming in on 4. One car leaves pit road just in front of him. That looks like that's going to be the Alex Bates machine, who sits a couple laps down with some significant damage, as again he caught the fence and the inside wall actually. So Benefield back out on track. That cycles Ricky Harden to the race lead. Next car going to be hitting the pit lane is going to be the 42.
Oh, lots of congestion on the backstretch as everyone tries to get themselves sorted out. Jeff Ward is actually in front of Bryce Whitson, and he is in front of Adam Benefield, but they are all on the circuit together. They all have 4 new tyres, although granted Bryce Whitson's are about 5 laps older, but right now Jeff Ward is definitely sitting in the catbird seat.
Yeah, it's gotten him as Jeff Ward sits right now. He's the first truck 1 lap down. Behind him is the 00 truck. The number 2 of Jim Foose has announced that he's going to come down pit road. How about Jim Foose entered tonight 3rd in the championship standing, 16 back. Has really not had a solid showing. Hasn't seen him much inside the top 5, top 10 for much of the race. So we're going to see how this short pit strategy works for the 00. It does not look like it is working in his favor, because it appears that Jeff Ward is pulling away and Adam Benefield is closing in.
Yeah, a couple more trucks coming into the pits, including Dan Winter, who's a chase driver, but he's been running at the back for most of the day still. If a caution comes out at the end, that could change everything. But yeah, as you say, Bryce Whitson really racing hard in front of Adam Benefield to hold on to second. And I'm sure Adam wants to get by, because he knows he's been a bit faster, and he knows he has the pace to match, if not pass, Jeff Ward. Adam Benefield does not want that 8E9 truck to get too far in front of him, because he still wants to be able to challenge him for the win at the end of this race.
Yeah, and they're racing each other hard. 00 doesn't want to give up that position. And he's been able to hold him off by virtue of that outside lane, been able to do the runs down those straightaways, but Benefield by far has the faster truck than him. The only issue is, again, it's something that happens in racing, is it's so easy to catch somebody in theory, but passing them is a whole different ball game, because you're going to have to modify your preferred lane, and you know the way your driving style fits this fix set that we're using, it may not work into your favor. So as he rides around stuck behind him, essentially, that has allowed Jeff Ward to kind of pull away by about 2 seconds. Race leader Ricky Harden in, and Jason Kristen now leaving the pit lane. So this is going to cycle things through.
And Benefield finally gets by Bryce Whitson. If he can clear him, use up all the track here. Bryce Whitson going to try and challenge back. Adam Benefield is having none of it. I'm almost wondering if Bryce is going to be a little bit frustrated there, but like I say, I think he really needs to be thinking about the championship picture here. Hey, take the 3rd place, Bryce. It will still give you the points lead, even if you don't get the win today. But yeah, now Adam Benefield has a lot of work to do to run Jeff Ward down, and meanwhile, Ricky Hardin is in front of them. I think he just came out the pit, so did Ricky Hardin take 2 cars? I have a feeling he's made his final pit stop and is leading the race right now. Ricky Hardin trying to use strategy to win this race, but I have a feeling it's not going to work. Jeff Ward should easily have a pace here. Here he goes around the outside for the lead.
Gas only, now caution gonna fly. It was gas only on that pit stop, a trouble car but a wall in turn number 3, Tim Johnston.
Chase driver, Tim Johnston, number 38 truck.
Wow, they were 3 wide at a corner number 2. Tim Johnston just forced in the middle. Looks like the 61 bounced off the wall, and that was a big mess, and it is a chase driver that gets the worst end of it, as he almost had it saved, but overcorrected and went back up into the outside wall.
Here we are looking at Tim Johnston, the second of our chasers to run into major issues today. Meanwhile, pit road entry, Ricky Harding comes in, Jeff Ward comes in, Adam Benefield does not come in. Boy, this is going to be an interesting final 10 laps.
And that's the way it goes. There's always an extent of strategy that will be played. Adam Benefield not coming down the pit road. A couple of the trucks staying out with him are lap machines. Dan Winter going to hit the wave around, trying to see if there are any other lead lap trucks out there. Alex Bates is out there. Cody Gibson is going to stay out, the 07 machine. Steve Ritter stays out. Jason Kristen stays out. And that looks like that might about do it. Aaron Kleinhan stays out. Michael Clary, Sean Music. So maybe a split decision on staying out or going in. So this will be interesting. The old tires versus the new ones.
All right, so let's take away what you need to know here. Adam Benefield is in the leader in the fast truck, but with a bit of old tires. Now there are some other trucks that stayed out, notably Jason Kristen and Aaron Kleinhans, who are chasers. Now, Ricky Harding, by the benefit of strategy, is the first driver to come out of the pits with 4 new tyres, because he was in front of Jeff Ward before Jeff Ward passed him before the caution flew, so he is going to have that desired position. And really, Evan, it's going to become a matter of how many green flag laps do we get and how many caution flags do we get. Adam Benefield wants them to wreck as soon as the green flag drops, because there's only 10 laps left. The race will go for a couple of cautions, and then he'll end up winning the race. Meanwhile, all these trucks on the 4 new tyres are going to need a long green flag run in order to work their way through the field. But I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of traffic. I have a feeling Adam Benefield has really played the best strategy call here.
He has, and again, I talked about when we saw the 2-tire versus the 4-tire call, even under green flag conditions, and it is you want a buffer. You don't want to be the only car out there on no tires and have somebody sitting right next to you or right behind you on 4. He is going to have that buffer, and it's about 9, maybe 8 positions is the buffer that he will have. It looks like it was the 15 Ricky Harding who was the first truck to come down pit road and come back out. He's going to be restarting 9th. So Adam Benefield has 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th on no tires in between him and the only trucks that can really challenge him, I think, at this point.
Alright, so let's give a small update on the trucks that have had bad days today. We've had Alex Bates sitting 5 laps down. He is a chase driver. David Gibson, not quite sure what happened to him. He's 2 laps down, the chase driver. Tim Johnston obviously brought out our last caution. He is sitting 1 lap down, a chase driver. Gary Whitson, who had a lot of damage, is the last truck on the lead lap right now. Dan Winter is currently being shown in 19th place. He's a chase driver. But actually, Evan, he's probably one of the chase drivers who's quite happy right now because he just got the wave around and back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, I'm surprised at all the amount of chase drivers that we have seen have trouble. It seems to be, with that extra amount of pressure, it's not something that you make or, a mistake on your end of things, but things just don't go your way when you really need to, get that solid performance. The lights have gone out on the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car. Going to get set for a 9-lap shootout. Again, if a caution flies within 4 to go, that will end it. So the racing to that point, especially if you're Adam Benefield, that's the flag you want to see is 4 to go.
And unfortunate news here that Keith Medeiros has lost the connection, one of the newer drivers who has certainly shown impressive pace in the past. Unfortunately, iRacing's version of a mechanical failure has bit Medeiros today. Evan, I picked Adam Benefield to win this race with 10 laps to go. Who's your bets on for the end of this then?
You have to go with the 82. There's too many cars. Cody Gibson has shown speed, not Adam Benefield speed. There's just too many cars between the 82 and the rest of the guys, the Ricky Hardins, the Jeff Ward, the Bryce Whitsons on those 4 tires. There's too many cars for them to get through. Even if they pick up 4 spots, somehow we get a caution right away, I still think with Adam Benefield being the control truck, he's going to be able to get this one.
I do too, but let's not forget Steve Ritter there in third. He actually started in the top 10, which means you were probably less than a tenth of a second off of pole time, so Steve Ritter may have some pace that we haven't seen today. Meanwhile, we'll keep a special eye on Jason Kristen restarting fourth and Aaron Kleinhans restarting fifth. Their chase drivers, Adam Benefield gets off to an early restart. He's already cleared the field by about 3 or 4 truck lengths and battles on for second with 9 laps left to go here at Las Vegas.
And that's exactly what he needed to do. Just get a big gap side by side for the number spot. It looks like up there as 3 wide back and back.
Jeff Ward, that's Jeff Ward going on the high side around the number 05 truck. He is in off positions already. We have 1 truck to there. Screening at the back. There's Big Red. Steve Buholler upside down. Gary Whitson's in it. And Tim Johnston. And
caution is going to fly. We're going to slow him back down as Tim Johnston again just caught up in another thing, but it looks like it was the 141 machine. Want to take a look? Yeah, he just slid up the hill there, got sideways, collected the 42, clipped the 42, the 13, the 38, all pile them in down the back straightaway, and what a hit by one of those trucks down there into the inside retaining wall that got kind of thrown up in the air. That was Steve Buhala as he hit the indent there in the wall, took a wild ride.
Yeah, now, they are coming around to complete lap 66. That means we'll be at about 3 or 4 laps to go when this race restarts, which means a caution will end it. So I have a feeling you've got to stay out there on the tyres you've got now, because you may not actually complete a full lap left under green. Adam Benefield looks like he's going to get a win. But let's talk about Jason Kristen and Aaron Kleinhans. And what's Aaron doing? I almost thought he was going to come down there in the pits, but he doesn't. He comes back up on the track. Smart decision, I think, by Aaron. And I'll tell you what, these are 2 chase drivers I would not have put my money on to finish at the front of a chase field tonight, Evan.
Yeah, we've seen some guys have trouble faking out on pit road, so Kleinhans has to be careful there.
He does, but he currently sits 10th in the chase, 44 points back of Gary Whitson, so this is going to be very good for him, considering Gary Whitson has had a horrid night tonight. Jason Kristen, 4th in the race right now, only 21 points back of Gary Whitson, so this is going to be good for him in the points. It'll probably get him within 15 points of a championship lead in tonight, providing, of course, there isn't a big wreck or anything on restart.
And there's still a fair amount of races to go in this chase for the championship. Again, we talk about how 7 races is not a lot of time. It really isn't. You can't afford bad finishes. You maybe have 1, but I mean, if you want to be a serious contender in the championship, you got to be running solid. Now, with that said, again, we got to take a look at these guys. The guys that have been way back entered tonight, 20 plus, 30 plus points out of it, and are capitalizing on the issues of Gary Whitson, who still sits on the lead lap. He still can pick up some spots, but he is back in 19th position. That's a lot of spots to be giving up as a championship leader, especially with 5 races still to go. You're letting these guys get back in the hunt.
Now this is odd. This may be a quick caution, but I already see the field doubling up. Maybe they're doing it in preparation for the lights to go off this lap. If they do, we will have a 5 laps left. I don't think that's enough for a 1-lap shootout left at the end of a race, and the lights are staying on anyway, so no, another caution will definitely end this race.
Yeah, so if the lights go off the next time around, that will be a 4-lap to go shootout, and again, at that point, a caution would end the race, no overtime, no extra. So Adam Benefield, I think if he's able to nail that start like he did last time, I mean, you said it, he blew the field off the line. He got about 5 truck lengths by the start and finish line. If he's able to get that done the way he did, then there's not going to be any challenger. We saw those guys on 4 tires. Jeff Ward was flying up on the outside lane. He was only able to get like 2 spots. So with the limited amount of time, this is Adam Benefield's race to win.
Alright, so let's just give a rundown of the order of the chase drivers for you, because we pretty much established our race winner here will probably be Adam Benefield, although Steve Ritter's on the outside of him. Our first chase driver in the field is Jason Kristen in 4th. Then we have Aaron Kleinhans in 5th. Then you have to go back to Bryce Whitson in 11th. Nick Cohan in 12th. Jim Foose is in 15th. He's the 5th of the chase drivers. Dan Winter is in 17th. Gary Whitson is in 18th. He's the 7th of the chase drivers. David Gibson is in 22nd. Tim Johnston and Alex Bates is in 26th, and Tim Johnston's 23rd. So really it's Alex Bates, David Gibson and Tim Johnston who honestly were quite a few points out entering into this round. Do you have a feeling this may be the end of their chase, 7?
Again, with 7 right again, and I keep saying it, there's not a lot of room to make mistakes. You have 2, and especially back-to-back, not only is it going to get you in a hole, but it's going to mess with you mentally as the lights go up for pace cars, because you're going to, get down, you're going to know, and you'll be thinking about it going into the 3rd race at Talladega that you're behind. So not only is it, a game of attrition, but it's also a mental game that if you get off to a really bad start, you're not going to have the, the drive and the inspiration to go out there and really, put down a solid effort. So you never want to start off in a hole.
Yes, pace car lights are off. Now, let's talk once again about Talladega coming up next week. That's really going to be a bit of a crapshoot, and we can relate that to Vegas here a little bit, because this series does not race with any kind of free repairs. If you wreck, you are done. So really, they are going to have to mind their P's and Q's at the Super Speedway racing next week. But, sorry, not next week, 3 weeks away. But that is not today. Today they are at Las Vegas, and today Adam Benefiel is sitting just 4 laps away from what could be his 2nd win in 3 races. The Ford Mustang pace car lights are off, and we'll peel into pit road now. There he goes. Adam Benefiel has control of the field, gets a good restart again. Steve Ritter doesn't get a horrible restart, but I don't think he's got the pace to run Adam Benefiel down. It's going to be this battle for 2nd between him and Cody Gibson. And can the field get this lap done completely this time?
Side by side for 2nd, 3 wide back of the pack, a lot of movement, contact the 00 into the 05 machine, gonna go to the bottom, that's about P12. A lot of 3 wide, mid-pack is a hornet's nest down into corner number 3, battle for 2nd, single files out for a moment. Adam Benefiel is way slow off of 4, he had to get out of the gas, that opens up the door, here comes Steve Ritter.
Steve Ritter is definitely been a dark horse today, and here he goes, he doesn't make a move for the lead there. All the drivers have been able to get through cleanly this lap. Less than 3 laps to go now, maybe 2.5. Adam Benefiel slides up the track, but is able to avoid the wall. Gets a good run off the turn, but Steve Ritter is still there waiting to pounce. The field double file down the backstretch.
And now at a corner number 4, Adam Benefiel, this time by the stripe, is going to get the popsicle sticks in the air. 2 laps to go, and it is about 2 truck lengths that separate the top 2 of the racetrack. Adam was able to get some more ground out of 3 and 4 that last time. You see the 9 of Ritter, he's driving it in hard. He goes to the bottom. Can he make it stick coming up off the corner? He is going to make up some time, rather, a truck length down the back.
And if they can make it to the white flag, they will go green to the end. The caution does not come out on the final lap on live racing. No matter what happens, it will be either Adam Benefiel or Steve Ritter who will win this. Meanwhile, Steve Ritter back in the pack, but there's no caution, no wrecking yet. They have had the white flag. Adam Benefiel is in the lead, but you know Stephen Ritter wants that win just as much as Benefiel does.
Championship leader is 3 wide back of the pack, but all eyes up front as Steve Ritter's going to have to make one last-ditched effort. Gets to within half a car length. He's going to back up the corner a lot. He'll get on the accelerator off the floor and sideways. It's not going to be enough.
What a win by Adam Benefiel, and they're wrecking behind them. That's Nick Cohan, one of the captains of the thing. Adam Benefiel wins. Steve Ritter 2nd. What's going to happen behind them?
And this is before the stripe. So Nick Cohan's losing a lot of spots. He has not crossed the stripe yet. He'll go to outside the top 10.
And he was inside the top 10 when that all began. Nick Cohan definitely, unfortunately for him, our big loser today there on the final lap.
He got some help in turn 4. The 00 just would not going to be lifted at a 4 in the last lap. Just straight took him out. And then he got nailed by a couple other trucks coming through. The 57 machine got into him. That was Jared Haggerty, and Cohan was doing pirouettes and cartwheels down the front straightaway. He will cross the start-finish line, but in P20.
Yeah, and there's going to be a bit of controversy there because Bryce Whitson is another chase driver. But at the same time, it did look like Nick was a bit slow off a turn, and Bryce maybe tried to avoid him. Maybe he could have lifted off the gas, but at the same time, can you really expect someone to lift off the gas in the battle for position on the final lap of the race?
No, and that's the point. Again, it's quarter number 4. It's the last lap. I mean, even when those guys were wrecking, those guys back in the middle of the pack there, nobody lifts at a 4.
Well, we are going to get to talk to some of these drivers in just a little bit. Congratulations, Adam Benefiel, your winner here today, and also Jason Kristen, who came away as the highest chase finisher. Hello and welcome back to Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where a bit of action took place on the final lap, and some drivers not happy with each other. But let's have a look at the rundown and see who are the happy drivers at the end of this race. Evan, take it away.
Yeah, Adam Benefiel, he was able to walk away in victory lane. Steve Ritter would come home in a second place. How about Jeff Ward? The 4 tires is able to get him a third place result. Cody Gibson would come home in 4th. Ricky Harden, a 5th place finish for him. Jason Kristen talked about that 02 truck being one of the finishing highest truck in the chase for the championship. Aaron Kleinhans would come home 7th. Great recovery after having a rough race early on. Michael Clary in 8th. L. Bryce Whitson Jr. comes home with a beaten and battered 00 Chevrolet 9th. And Bo McGuire rounding out the top 10.
Yes, and then we got Jason Swan in 11th. The league organizer Jim Foose got 12th. Sean Music finished 13th. Gary Whitson was able to salvage a 14th place finish out of that. Jeffrey Gilliam in 15th. Benny Ellison 16th. Dan Winter 17th. One of the chase drivers a bit far down the field. Jordan Harnish 18th. Jared Haggerty 19th. And the very disappointed Nick Cohan, I'm sure, finished 20th.
And all these cars, or these trucks on back, were laps down. So top 20 going to finish on the lead lap. 21st position going to go to Tim Knott. He will finish 1 lap down. Jesse Fowler, the number 98 machine, he'll come home 2 laps down in 22nd, along with David Gibson and Tim Johnston. All those guys 2 laps down as well. Alex Bates would come home 5 laps down in 25th position. Keith Medeiros out of the race, 26th spot for the number 65. And Steve Buhala, again, after making hard contact the inside wall down the back straightaway in the closing portion of the race, he'll round out your 27 truck field.
Yes, and we've got plenty of drivers to talk to here, including our 6th place finisher and highest chase finisher of the race, Jason Kristen. Congratulations, Jason. This has definitely got to be a boom for you in the points championship. It looks like we are having a bit of technical difficulty talking to Jason right now. We will try and get that sorted out. So we have our 3rd place finisher, Jeff Ward, here. Jeff, you took 4 tires very late on in the race. It wasn't quite able to work off for you, though.
Yeah, Samuel, we probably should have stayed out there, but in a million years, I never would have thought, 8, 10 guys would have stayed out there. So, Adam drove a great race. He definitely deserved that. He raced me clean all night, and I think he definitely had the better long-run truck. And he just was smart all night and was definitely smart on that staying out there. So, congrats to him.
Yeah, you two had a very good race. It seemed though there were issues dealing with pit road entry. Did you ever run into those issues where the trucks were slowing up prematurely or anything?
For the most part, it was pretty smooth. I know on the last pit stop there, it got pretty congested. I was able to just ride along the outside line there and pass most people that were trying to pit, and the guys did pretty good giving signal too. So, getting out of the pits on exit, that was really slick. So, but getting in, really had no issues all night there.
Alright, well, congratulations on your rebound to 3rd. We know you would have liked 2 more spots. You're looking forward to Talladega in 3 weeks' time?
I think it'll be fun. It's always fun being that tight together and, working out drafting partners in practice and stuff. But I'm not really a super speedway guy, but I'll definitely enjoy hooking up with my teammates and giving it a run.
Alright, well, we look forward to seeing you back. Enjoy your couple weeks off, and we'll see you back at Talladega.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you there.
Alright, so now Evan has caught up with our 2nd place finisher of today's race, and that's Steve Ritter.
We are down here, and we've caught up with Steve Ritter, who's going to come home with a 2nd place result. And Steve, coming down there in those closing laps, that final 4-lap shootout, looked like Adam had some trouble maybe out of 4 coming off the restart. You were able to close in. You tried to back up 3 and 4, just wasn't enough. Walk us through that.
Yeah, I kind of got a draft on him after we took the green there, and kind of got up to him, and I really wanted to draft with him. I knew we had about 3 or 4 laps. Wanted to draft with him to get away from 3rd, and that worked. and I tried to set him up going into 3 on the white flag lap, and I kind of goofed it up and just didn't turn in quick enough, and he got the win. But Adam's a good driver, and he deserved it.
Walk us through your night after starting in P10. This race had a very long portion of it go green. What did you do on, the fuel strategies, the tire strategies to get yourself in position? Of course, obviously, there on that final round of pit stops, people staying out and people pitting. How'd you get yourself in position to battle for that win?
Well, me and Cody kind of teamed up there halfway through that second run after green flag stops, and we're kind of drafting together. He had caught me on that first long run, and I know 2 trucks working together is better than, one alone. So we kind of teamed up and just drafted, pitted together, and then he goofed up and took 2, and I took 4. So we kind of got separated there. But when the last yellow come out, I'm thinking my tires are only 5 laps old, and I didn't know who would pit and who wouldn't pit, and I was kind of staying out no matter what. So that kind of put us in that position up front.
Rolling forward in 3 weeks' time is going to be the next race out here on a Wednesday night. It's going to be at the Talladega Superspeedway. Hard to prepare for those plate tracks. Normally, those ones are up in the air, and they're really the crapshoots when it comes down to them. How confident are you rolling into that one?
Not at all. I hate plate tracks.
A fair enough statement. Before we let you go, sponsors and shout-outs, who makes it happen for you?
I got Byers Chevrolet on the truck tonight. It's who I work for. They do a great job for me, let me race. Definitely Steel Horse Racing. All the guys over there, we work real well together, and Cody and I worked together in this race, and it showed. We both got good finishes out of it, and just want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast, and Jim for putting up with us over there, and ASRS for running the series.
Well, congratulations on a top 2 finish, and good luck rolling forward in the end of the season.
Thanks, Evan.
And Samuel, that is Steve Ritter. He's going to come home with a second place result tonight.
And the driver who was able to hold him off in that final 4-lap shootout was Adam Benefiel. Adam, congratulations on your win here today at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Thank you.
Did you know that many trucks were going to stay out on that final caution there?
No, not really. I just previously pitted. I probably had about 4 laps on the tires, and Jeff was in the same boat, and Ricky literally just came out. I was actually really shocked to see them go down pit road, but I figured they were going to, do a little fake deal right there at the entrance and stay out. But when they pitted and I stayed out, I just started looking to see how many trucks were going to be in between us, and figured I'd just get the heck out of Dodge and see if they can run me down in 10 laps.
Yeah, well, they weren't quite able to, so once again, congratulations on the win. Had Jeff Ward and you played the same strategy cards towards the end of a race, who do you think would have came out on top?
I don't know. Me and Jeff, right there at the beginning, we busted out. I told him I was just going to ride, which I was trying to work with him so we could build that gap. We were really about the same pace, but if it was a heads-up race between me and Jeff, dude, there's no telling. Jeff, he's a stout competitor. It probably would have been one hell of a show there for the white flag lap.
Well, Talladega Super Speedway coming up in 3 weeks' time. Is that a favorite of yours or not?
Oh no, I love Talladega, man. I live probably 10 minutes from Talladega Super Speedway, so it's a home track. It's one of my favorite places to race. Might be hitting up old Jeff, see if we can't work together there.
Well, we look forward to seeing you racing there, and best of luck, and enjoy your 2 weeks off.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Alright, and we think we've got Jason Kristen's mic working now, so I'm going to hand it over to you to interview our highest race finisher for race 7.
Jason Kristen is able to come home with a 6th place result, which is going to mean big news for him, obviously rolling forward. Jason, you entered tonight 21 points back. What does the highest finishing spot of the Volta Chasers mean for you and your team?
It means a whole lot to get this great finish. I wish I would have finished a little bit higher up than I did, but I'll gladly take a 6th place finish out of, ahead of everybody else in the chase without a scratch on this truck, mind you. And yeah, we'll take it, and we'll try our luck at Talladega next week.
I was going to say, speaking of Talladega, coming off of a solid finish, you want to roll the momentum through, and Talladega, it's pretty hard to do that. Is there any way that you can really prepare for this race other than, fine-tuning your drafting skills, or is it really just, kind of what happens in the heat of the moment when we get to that one?
It's really hard to say because I've tried several different strategies at Talladega, and they've all turned around and bit me in the rear. So I'm just going to play it by ear. I'm going to try to qualify up towards the front and just try to race up at the front, because every time I run in the middle or the back of the pack, that's when I run into huge trouble.
We were able to get the job done tonight. Just one spot short of a top 5 finish. You get 6th after qualifying outside the top 15. Who makes it happen for you and the team?
The only person that I've really got to thank is my amazing sponsor, Ready to Rescue. Without them, there is no way I would have been able to get back on the track this easily or this quickly. Just huge shout out to Bob at Ready to Rescue.
Definitely. Well, again, congratulations on your solid finish, and good luck rolling forward in your chase for this championship.
All right, thanks, Evan.
And Samuel, that is Jason Christ, that he comes home with a top 6 result, that he is the highest finishing chase driver in tonight's race.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, don't have time to interview all the drivers who finished, whether they had good or bad nights tonight, but it certainly was an interesting race, and we probably will be thrown another big curveball next time they're racing at Talladega Superspeedway. We would like to thank Jim Foose and the organisers of this league. We would also like to thank the maker of the various software and hardware that helped make this stream possible, iRacing.com, XSplit, Audio Technica, and Dava Media. Thanks to the team today, Kevin and Evan. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, you can find it at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and race highlights. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel. A big thanks to Dougie Beard for creating the camera sets that you saw during the stream, and a special thank you to Eric Icombe, who provides us with much of our music. You can find it not only here on GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes and Spotify. If you like the music, tell Eric where you heard it at eric@com.com. Our next broadcasts have been shown on your screen during the breaks during today's broadcast, so be sure to check them out to know when and where the next races are going to be of your favourite series. And I'll tell you right now that we do have a 3-week break to the next race in the ASRS. They will be at Talladega Superspeedway on October 15th, 9 PM Eastern Time that Wednesday, for the 3rd round of a 7th round race. Until then, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.